You're watching live from New Delhi. This is TT India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and coming up in the next hour. Campaigning reaches its crescendo for the fifth phase polls. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi campaigns in Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra. Congress leader Sonia Gandhi holds a rally in Raebareli in Uttar Pradesh. Aid trucks begin moving through a temporary US-built pier of Gaza Strip. Supplies uploaded on the pier will be subject to Israeli security checks in Cyprus before arriving. Russian President Vladimir Putin wraps up his two-day visit to China, terms his talks with China's Xi Jinping as substantive. Brazil declared as the host of the 2027 Women's World Cup at the FIFA Congress. Brazil beat joint bid of Belgium, Netherlands and Germany. And first, let's get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India, the Great Indian Elections. And it's a final... So it's a final countdown of sorts for the crucial fifth phase of polling in poll-bound states in Lok Sabha 2024, especially Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra. Here is more on today's roundup on electioneering by the ruling dispensation as well as the opposition.
Campaigning is in full throttle across India as political leaders leave no stone unturned to sway the voters in their favour. Prime Minister embarked on a blitzkrieg campaign addressing rallies in various states. In the northern state of Uttar Pradesh, Prime Minister held electrifying rallies in Barabanki, Hamirpur and Fatehpur. Hitting out at the opposition, Congress and the Samajwadi Party, Prime Minister lambasted their alleged vote bank politics.
अब कांग्रेस ने मिशन 50 रखा है और उन्होंने आदेश दिया कि भाई कुछ भी करो, आकाश पाताल एक कर दो, लेकिन कांग्रेस को कम से कम 50 सीटें मिल जाए, इसके लिए अब वो हाथ पैर इधर-उधर मार रहे हैं.
Meanwhile, opposition leaders Rahul Gandhi of the Congress and Akhilesh Yadav of the Samajwadi Party attended spirited rally in Amethi in Uttar Pradesh. Accusing Prime Minister Modi of attempting to rewrite the constitution, Gandhi rallied support in a bid to galvanize their campaign.
500 करोड़ आए, 1000 करोड़ आए, हाईवे आए, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर आए, पुल आए, जो भी आएगा, राहुल गांधी आपको वायदा कर रहा है, जो भी रायबरेली में आएगा, उतना ही अमेठी में आएगा.
BJP's campaign continued as Union Minister Amit Shah canvassed support in Amethi in Uttar Pradesh before jetting off to Odisha's Rourkela for a public meeting and holding a roadshow in Jharkhand's Ranchi. Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also rallied BJP supporters in Uttar Pradesh's Balia. Congress and Samajwadi Party leaders made their presence felt in Uttar Pradesh's Raebareli, bolstering their campaign efforts.
ये आपकी भी परीक्षा है कि अगर कांग्रेस पार्टी आगे बढ़ रही है तो 5 लाख से ज्यादा वोट जिताने का काम करना, इसलिए जिताना, यही निवेदन, यही अपील करने आया हूं.
The day culminated with a grand finale as Prime Minister Modi addressed a mammoth rally in Maharashtra's Dadar. Concurrently, the opposition bloc comprising Congress, NCP Sharad Pawar and Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray in Maharashtra orchestrated a show of strength at BKC's Pataka Maidan with leaders like Mallikarjun Kharge, Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray making impassioned appeals to sway undecided voters. With just days remaining until the crucial fifth phase of polling, the political landscape continues to simmer with fervor and anticipation. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
And the pace of infrastructure and connectivity development in India has been unprecedented in the last 10 years. New roads have been laid connecting remote areas in Union Territory of Ladakh, which will not only benefit its people but also India's armed forces, as the Union Territory has China on one side and Pakistan on the other. Ladakh's lone parliamentary seat goes to polls on 20th of this month. DD India's Gautam Roy went down the Nimo Padam Darcha road, which has been made operational just about a month back to connect Ladakh with Himachal Pradesh and rest of the country.
Operationalized in April this year, the Nimo Padam Darcha road connects Leh in Ladakh with the remote Zanskar Valley in the Union Territory and then on to Darcha in Himachal Pradesh's Lahaul and Spiti. It had been demanded by the people of Ladakh for nearly 3 decades, and its completion has opened up new possibilities for the entire region. Ladakh bungee jumping also lies on the NPD road, and it's the world's highest bungee jumping spot. The jump is 190 feet above the Zanskar River and a haven for thrill seekers and intrepid adventurers. Its owner says the opening of the road to and from Leh to Himachal Pradesh will be a boon not only for his business but for regions beyond Ladakh.
ये रोड खोलने से यहाँ पे एक तो मेन ऊंचा हाई पासिस है नहीं, तो उससे यहाँ पे मिलिट्री और हमारे कमर्शियल एक्टिविटीज़ है लोकल्स के लिए बहुत सुविधा मिलेगा। और अब जब ये खुलेगा तो फिर श्रीनगर से भी और मनाली से भी सबसे नज़दीक का रोड ये पड़ेगा।
The Nimo Padam Darcha road was operationalized this year itself and is proving to be a boon for the entire Ladakh region. It connects Leh to Kargil and onto Himachal Pradesh. And apart from that, it's also a vital link for the Indian Armed Forces, as it's a faster and safer route to the international border in case of any conflict with the enemy. The Nimo Padam Darcha road is the third access to Ladakh. Leh Manali and Leh Srinagar highways are the other 2 routes. A part of the Leh Srinagar highway runs along the line of control. The Leh Srinagar highway is vulnerable to enemy fire. Winter and inclement weather often shut down Leh Manali and Leh Srinagar routes. Nimo Padam Darcha will be an all-weather route. Work is underway to complete the world's highest tunnel at Shinkula Pass. Shinkula Pass is at 16,580 feet. Shinkula Tunnel will cut down Leh to Manali distance by 60 kilometers. A distance of 355 kilometers will come down to 295 kilometers.
The Prime Minister has been kind enough to sanction, special funding for this Nimo Padam Darcha road, which is also a very strategically very important. It is a third axis to Ladakh, and it is very safe. And this particular road has a very, less passes, and there's one big passes, and there also the government has approved a tunnel, and that work has already been started. So this is a game changer for the people of Ladakh.
Since the abrogation of Article 370 and reorganization of the state of Jammu and Kashmir in 2019, India's central government has increased connectivity and infrastructure in Ladakh, spending and earmarking over $1 billion to counter China's bid to encircle the region. Apart from the NPT road, more tunnels and bridges are being built to further enhance routes to Ladakh, and survey for a rail link estimated to cost over $12 billion has also been completed. With camera person Naveen Kumar Jha, Gautam Roy, Ladakh, DD India.
Let's quickly go live across to DD India's presence on ground. Our reporters joining us live, Gautam Roy joining us live from Leh in the Union Territory of Ladakh, from Malihabad in Uttar Pradesh, which is a very important constituency. Joining us is Tapas and Dibendra Mondal live from Bangagaon in West Bengal. Gautam, coming to you, a very interesting and comprehensive report on the third axis to Ladakh. And overall, we spoke about it yesterday also, but especially on the development paradigm, do you think the kind of development, especially the remote and inaccessible otherwise areas in Leh and Ladakh, post 2014 and particularly post 2019, the whole development paradigm will hold a larger sway in these elections, though it's a one seat, but an important seat?
Well, it is as important as can be, because this is strategic as can be, because on the east you've got China, on the west you've got Pakistan. You've already had conflict in Kargil in the last century, and all these changes are taking place because of what's happened with China as well much later in Ladakh itself, in the eastern Ladakh area. And well, that is the strategic part, but this has a dual purpose, and it's not just restricted to roads, is what we featured in our report, but it's about setting up mobile towers. It's about a medical college in Leh that has already been approved. It's about transforming Ladakh in terms of a powerhouse of electricity through hydel and solar projects. Ladakh gets 320 days of bright sun throughout the year. That is almost unmatched in the entire world. And a lot of solar projects have been sanctioned, approved by the Union Cabinet itself. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will this happen, because if you look at the vision for changing Ladakh into a carbon neutral zone altogether, that is for 2050. That's what Prime Minister Modi has announced as a target. That will not happen overnight. But when that happens, Ladakh will be completely transformed, and a lot of dreams will come true.
Okay, a quick one now. What are the prime issues when the electorate goes to vote in Ladakh? Because these are crucial elections post abrogation of Article 370. So is there a palpable demand for the statehood as well?
Well, certainly there is, Sakal. That is one issue that is really figuring very prominently when you look at how the contest is panning out, because there is, of course, a BJP candidate from Leh. There's another Congress and National Conference candidate from Leh itself, but there is another independent candidate from Kargil. And these people have different aspirations. The demand for statehood is primarily coming from there. In fact, even reintegration of Jammu and Kashmir, because these people feel that after Ladakh became a union territory, a lot of the opportunities that were there with a larger state are no longer there as a union territory. For instance, the State Public Service Commission is not there for a UT. So they felt that a UT with a legislature like Puducherry, or for that matter Delhi, would have been better, and they've been pushing for that. But if you look at what the BJP has been putting across, it's been saying that this is something that is being focused upon as an area of strategic importance, or as an area which is remote and needs to be developed. And that is what the BJP is doing, and it's sanctioned projects, and large number of them. It's hard to imagine the kind of money that has been sort of projected and sanctioned really for this. There's a rail link also planned till Leh. So, and that's worth $12 billion, as my report mentioned. So that will take time, and people tend to be impatient. So that's where the election is poised at the moment.
Yes. Okay. Tapash, coming to you from Alihabad. Tapash, quickly to begin with, give us an overview or as far as those important constituencies that are going to go down the wire in the fifth phase. And we've also seen Prime Minister Modi leading from the front when it comes to electioneering in Uttar Pradesh, particularly the rallies that took place today, Barabanki, Hamirpur and Fatehpur.
Yes, and in fact, in the last 2 days, today and yesterday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had 7 rallies in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Now, there are few seats which are very crucial. 3 very prominent, Amethi, Raebareli, Lucknow, where it will be a tough battle. It will be a direct showdown between Congress as well as and in between BJP. In Amethi, you have Smriti Irani, who will like to retain her seat, and you have KL Sharma from the Congress. In Raebareli, we all know Rahul Gandhi is fighting and wants to win this particular seat. And Dinesh Pratap Singh will be giving him quite a stiff competition as we can see. In Lucknow, it's a direct contest, as I mentioned. Rajnath Singh and Ravi Das Mehrotra, the Samajwadi Party leader, has been pitted against Rajnath Singh. He is the incumbent Union Cabinet Minister and also the Defence Minister. Now there is one more seat that is very important, that is Kasarganj seat, where Karan Bhushan Singh, the son of Brij Bhushan Singh, is is right now competing, and Bhagat Ram Mishra from SP will be his opponent. Now these are very crucial 4 seats. Ayodhya will be also there, but as I can tell you that Faizabad, where Lalu Singh from BJP will be there, and Avdesh Prasad from Samajwadi Party is his opposite number. But as I mentioned, the fact that in Lucknow, and just today, in fact, just a while back now, SP Supremo Akhilesh Yadav had his rally, and it was a huge road show that he did, and we saw how Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a whirlwind tour of the whole state of UP.
Is it a nervous opposition?
I mean,
yes. Is it a sort of desperate opposition to bounce back to power, but this time BSP, the other regional, potent force is going solo. Yeah, is going solo this time around. And we had Sonia Gandhi also appearing in one of those crucial rallies. This used to be their bastion.
Used to be. That's the key point. In fact, from 2014 onwards, there has been a major change in the way the whole dynamics of how politics has been played, or politics has been done in this particular state. Remember, in 2019, BJP had a major say in this particular election. They won more than 62 seats, and in the 2014 election, they won 71 seats. So just to put it in perspective, that they kind of somehow broke the way BSP, SP, or for that matter Congress had a stronghold, and used to manage the politics of UP. So that's something that and for the sake of SP and for that matter Congress, they need to make a mark on UP if they have any sort of a chance of making a mark in the national arena. Just to put it into perspective,
yes,
last time I think SP won 5 seats in 2019. Congress won 1 seat, and this is not that's something that you don't expect from a party of a national party. And one believes that they kind of left it hanging for too long. It's picked up. The whole thing has picked up, but we don't see enough of SP, or for that matter Congress, making an inroad. But again, as I mentioned, BJP is quite confident of riding on Modi wave a third time round.
3 very crucial seats for the opposition as well, particularly the Raebareli and Amethi seat. We'll have to see how really this pans out in these polls. Coming to you quickly, Divendu. We're looking at 7 out of 42 parliamentary constituencies. A sense of fatigue out there, and what's the sense? What's the kind of contest, in particularly on these seats?
Well, Sakal, I would first like to say that there's no election fatigue in West Bengal, because of the fact that, this is a state which is very politically active and aware state. People are very enthusiastic. Even, it's extremely hot and humid here in West Bengal. But despite that, I just attended a rally of the BJP here in Bandgaon. There were like thousands of people that queued up along the road to witness this last moment campaigning of the BJP here. This is an important seat of the BJP, and why? Because the BJP is testing its fate against the implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act, and it hopes that this time around, like in 2019, the BJP would be able to win this particular seat of Bandgaon, where I am currently.
Yes.
And Union Minister of State, in fact, Shantanu Thakur, is contesting from here, and he is also the head of the Mathua Mahasangh, which constitutes about 40% of the population here. He hopes that he will be re-elected from this particular constituency, given the fact that the BJP has kept the promise of the implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act, which affects these 40% populations. Of course, it's an interesting contest. The Trinamool Congress is also putting all its might into this particular constituency to ensure that to defeat the BJP. It's a tough contest here, but it seems that
so CAA very quickly
they will be
CAA very quickly is rather one of the decisive issues out there, because it's been raked majorly by the opposition in West Bengal.
That's absolutely right, Sakal. The most dominating issue perhaps in this particular constituency is the Citizenship Amendment Act, and the BJP hopes that they will be able to sail through because of the wave that it has been able to create through this particular implementation of the CAA here in Bengal. Yes,
all right. Thank you very much, Team DD India. Dubendu from West Bengal and from Malihabad in UP, Tapas, and from sub-zero temperatures, enjoying the weather out there, is our colleague Gautam, joining us live from Leh. All of you, thank you very much. While I leave both of you to the sweltering heat, Gautam, thank you again. Thank you, all of you. And now let's move on to some other big stories that we are tracking for you on this broadcast. The United Nations has revised India's growth forecast from its previous predictions made in January this year. The United Nations estimates that the country's economy, or India's economy, will grow at a rate of about 7% in 2024. We have more details in this report.
India is one of the fastest growing major economies in the world and is currently ranked as the world's 5th largest economy. The country is making major strides in various sectors, starting from infrastructure to space, thanks to the robust policies of Government of India. The United Nations has revised India's growth projections for 2024, with the country's economy now projected to grow 6.9% this year. Earlier in January, the UN had estimated India's GDP to grow by 6.2%. The United Nations said the growth of the Indian economy will be driven mainly by strong public investment and resilient private consumption. The World Economic Situation and Prospects report issued by the global body further estimates that Indian economy to grow at 6.6% in 2025. Meanwhile, India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman quoted International Monetary Fund saying India's contribution to the global growth for 5 years beginning 2023 will be 18%.
India's story is a compelling growth story. The IMF estimated that India's contribution to the global growth for 5 years beginning 2023 will be 18%. So between 2023 and 28, we are looking at an India which is going to be actually very dynamic.
The UN report says labour market indicators have also improved amid strong growth and high labour participation in India. The improving outlook is driven by lower inflation, robust exports and increased foreign investment. Earlier, Asian Development Bank and Fitch Ratings have also estimated India's GDP growth at 7%. The UN report further says global trade is expected to recover in 2024, but there are still some major challenges to overcome. Geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, disruptions in the Red Sea, and escalating freight costs are all causing trouble for the global economy. Abhishek Bose for DD India.
Highlighting the need for manufacturing to be a priority for India, External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, has addressed the annual business summit of the Confederation of Indian Industries in New Delhi. DD India's Jayanti Jha brings us this report.
At the annual business summit of the Confederation of Indian Industries, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar highlighted the need to convert the challenges that the world currently faces into opportunities for India. In this, he emphasized the role of manufacturing, a sector in which he stated that India had fallen short previously, an error it is now poised to correct with production-linked incentives, a business-friendly environment and supportive policies.
Our commitment is both to enhance capabilities and competitiveness in orthodox manufacturing, as well as to enter the sunrise sectors of semiconductors, electric vehicles, batteries, green and clean technologies, drones and space. That is the way by which the Indian economy can leapfrog in its journey towards Viksit Bharat. But we can be successful only with the full support of business. So we not only need Make in India, we need invest in India, we need procure in India, we need design in India, and we need research in India.
In a constantly changing world, India is evolving faster than the rest. With strong economic fundamentals and a dynamic foreign policy, it is imperative that India strengthen its manufacturing and logistics capabilities, secure its workforce around the world, and harness its demographic dividend. With camera person Piyush for DD India, this is Jayanti Jha.
India's Ministry of External Affairs has also reiterated its stand on Jammu and Kashmir, saying union territories of Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir are inseparable part of the country. In the weekly presser, India's External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Randir Jaiswal said that the protests in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir are the result of exploitative policies of Pakistan, which deny the local people their rights over resources and its benefits.
हम लोगों ने रिपोर्ट देखा है कि पिछले कुछ दिनों में वहाँ पर विरोध प्रदर्शन हुआ, उसमें कुछ लोग हताहत हुए। ये विरोध, ये परिणाम है वहाँ पर जिस प्रकार की नीतियाँ चल रही हैं, वहाँ के संसाधन को जिस प्रकार से लूटा जा रहा है, वहाँ के लोगों को जितना दूर रखा जा रहा है इन संसाधन से, अपने संसाधन से उनका लाभ नहीं पहुँच रहा है। इस कारण से ये हो रहा है और जो वहाँ का तंत्र है वहाँ पर लोगों का वो एक्सप्लॉइट कर रहे हैं। हम लोगों ने पहले भी कहा है, जहाँ तक पाकिस्तान अधिकृत कश्मीर की बात है, यूनियन टेरिटरीज जो जम्मू के, लद्दाख के और कश्मीर के जो हैं वो भारत के अभिन्न अंग हैं, अभिन्न अंग रहेंगे। ये हमारा बल है।
India has also stressed its commitment towards Chabahar port and said that they realize its potential as a connectivity hub for Afghanistan and Central Asian countries which are landlocked.
We signed the long-term agreement for the operation of Chabahar port. Our minister was there. This has obviously it's a major achievement for us. We see Chabahar as India's commitment towards realizing the potential of the place as a connectivity hub for Afghanistan and for landlocked Central Asian countries. Our External Affairs Minister also spoke on this matter in several forums recently, where he said that we should not take a narrow view of this particular project. It has an important role to play as far as the region is concerned, connectivity is concerned, particularly for the landlocked countries in the area.
8 trucks began moving through a temporary US-built pier off the Gaza Strip on Friday. The US Central Command says the trucks carrying humanitarian assistance began moving ashore, and this aid arrived would be part of an ongoing multinational effort and would involve commodities donated by a number of countries and humanitarian organizations. The UK said it had delivered its first aid shipment by the pier, while the United Nations says it was also finalizing plans to distribute aid delivered via the route.
The establishment of the Trident Pier has been coordinated to support USAID's and the UN's effort to deliver and distribute aid. In the coming days, aid will be offloaded from the ships at a floating roll-on, roll-off distribution facility, ferried to this Trident Pier, and then driven to the shore in Gaza, where USAID and the UN will manage the distribution.
So still to come on DT India News Hour, this is what we have for you. Coming up next, hundreds more French police start deploying to secure New Caledonia. Russian President Vladimir Putin visits in Harbin Institute of Technology campus in China's northeastern city of Harbin. A discussion with our experts over the importance of Russian President's visit to China and its far-reaching implications, particularly the West.
We are looking at a seminal relationship that is redefining world politics, the so-called no-limits strategic partnership between Russia and China.
These two countries are actually trying to create a world order which moves away from Brussels and Washington DC.
If you look at any chance of a conflict between India and China, it would be very difficult for us to imagine that Russia would put all its weight behind India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Sakal Bhatt. On day 2 of his China visit, Russian President Vladimir Putin visited Chinese city of Harbin, which is also home to large number of Russian population. He visited China-Russia trade fair also on Friday to underscore the strength of economic links between Russia and China. But it comes a day after meetings between Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping, where they praised their deep strategic ties. Russian President Putin's 2-day trip has been taking place amidst growing warnings from United States to China against supporting Russia's military-industrial base. I get you more of this report.
In a rare display of camaraderie, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi exchanged hugs, signaling cementing of new era of strategic partnership between Russia and China during his 2-day visit to China. Hitting hard at US tariff on Chinese-made electric vehicles as unfair competition, adding US sanctions policy was undermining confidence in the dollar.
Unfortunately, nowadays, world is arranged in a way that situation connected with unfair competitions struggle appear. Recently, the Americans imposed sanctions on China on electric transport, on electric cars.
Lashing out at US on apprehensions of secondary sanctions slapped by United States, President Putin called such sanctions illegitimate unless approved by the UN Security Council and completely devoid of common sense, exposing US stupidity.
Sanctions against third countries, countries participants in economic activity, they are of course twice, 3 times illegitimate. Because if they are implemented without the decision of the UN Security Council, they are illegitimate in general. And when it comes to third countries, it's completely devoid of common sense.
Wrapping up his 2-day visit to China, President Putin also stated solution can be found to Chinese-Russia bank settlement problems. This is Putin's first international visit since the start of his 5th presidential term, following an election where he ran virtually unopposed. Sakal Bhatt's report for DD India.
Professor Gulshan Sachdeva from School of International Studies in Jawaharlal Nehru University joining us on the show. Professor Sachdeva, thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Both are calling it both leaders, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, the new era of relationship between Russia and China, but the timings of it and the kind of statements that Russia is making. One thing is very clear, reactions coming from US also in terms of sanction, that the Putin-Xi Jinping proximity may not really augur well with the West. But what is the bigger message that both leaders are trying to send across to the West? What do you think has been the biggest outcome of the visit?
Well, I think more than any specific outcome, in fact, this is a very, very symbolic.
Okay.
After, he's starting his new term, new presidential term. And, the first visit he's making to China, it means this is a clear message, the kind of relationship which has developed. And when both these countries, both Russia and China, are under pressure from the West, Russia is clearly, because of the Ukraine war, under sanctions, and China, now all countries are trying to decouple or de-risk from Chinese economy. Similarly, there are also certain slowdown in the Chinese economy. So within that context, I think the visit, they clearly want to give a message to the world that yes, we are together. And our relationship has really developed, and both are useful for each other, because when both of them are also kind of alarmed by the weaponization of the financial system by the West. Russia is clearly under sanctions, And there are worries in China as well that, things may be tightened. And already, in fact, just last week, President Biden has also announced some of the, tariff increase on the Chinese products, particularly on electric vehicles and medicines and medical supplies, etc. So, this is, I think, giving a message in that sense to the global community that we are together, and they are very useful for each other, because today, the Russia-China trade, in fact, earlier they set up their own target of about 200 billion 2 years back.
Okay.
Now it is already 240 billion. And 90% of this trade is being traded today in local currencies. So, they are trying to say to the world that, in fact, this is what President Xi Jinping himself has mentioned, that this is a model for the new international order, which they are trying to kind of, set up for the world.
Okay, but as the world's largest exporter, China particularly, can it balance its relationships, especially when important trade markets in the EU and United States, as you mentioned, are increasing the tariffs? So is China mentally prepared to walk the tightrope?
Well, this is, the serious challenge for China is that one way, politically, strategically, Russia is very important for them. So they are working together. And in fact, China is even more important for Russia today. Both are also important players in that sense. Both are members of the United Nations Security Council, and both are under pressure. So they are trying to help each other. At the same time, Chinese economy is also very much integrated with the global economy, and also particularly with the European economy and with the American economy. So they also, you rightly mentioned, this is a tightrope for China, even if both of them call it a no-limit partnership. But obviously, there are limits in a sense that, still this is not an alliance partner. And all the Western countries, particularly Europeans, have been telling again and again, when President Xi Jinping was in Europe last week, about 10 days ago, when he visited France, Hungary and Serbia, I think all of them were also trying to tell him to use his influence to kind of end, to bring that end to Ukraine war. And China has its own peace plan, a 12-point peace plan for Ukraine. But, China also, to some extent, India also feel the same way that, both parties should be equally participating in any kind of peace conference which happens to kind of, bringing a kind of, peaceful resolution of Ukraine conflict, of Ukraine war. But, since the China also is dependent on the Western countries, so they are, Chinese president and the Chinese other policymakers also very careful giving this message that, yes, we are, kind of sense, we are very close partners. But at the same time, we are not providing any kind of weapons or anything.
Yes. I was coming to that point, sir, where Beijing has been accused of aiding Moscow's war by supplying technology. But like you said, China maintains none of it is lethal, and its applications. Larger ramifications of this, because the kind of language that we see today coming from Putin, calling the sanctions or the move by US stupidity, quote unquote, how do you see this?
Well, many of those sanctions, as in fact India also sees, unless sanctions are imposed by the United Nations, these unilateral sanctions are a bit of a problem in the international system, because if you are powerful, you can, and this is what in fact I think the Russians have been saying, that you can't, unless those sanctions are approved by the United Nations, these sanctions are illegal. But since they are already implemented many of those sanctions, and the world is kind of, we have to live with the reality what it is today. But these economies have also become very, I would say, more dependent on each other. And the West, I think the worry for the West is that it's not just only supplying direct weapons to Russia, which perhaps they are not even doing that. But one is that West was trying to isolate Russia. West was also trying to achieve what their goal is, strategic defeat of Russia, which is not really happening, because what we have seen, in fact, they have made major moves in Ukraine now in the last couple of weeks. At the same time, Russian economy is doing reasonably okay, in the sense they are able to produce weapons. They are also able to produce energy. They are also able to export to many other markets, even if Europe is moving away from Russia. And many of the technologies which of the products which perhaps Russia is buying, apart from all the consumer goods and automobiles, etc., from China. But you know, many of the, I mean, in this world, I mean, in this kind of integrated world, I mean, you know, things can be used, you know, dual use technology, what we call. So many of the things which are being supplied by China to Russia, which are again being used by Russia to even, you know, manufacture its own weapons, etc. So that's what I think the major worry for the West is, not that they are giving any lethal weapons,
right, sir,
you know, to China or to Russia, but at the same time, they are keeping Russia, in a sense, you know, in a state where the economy is still working, that they are able to produce and they are able to fight and produce armaments.
All right.
This is what they would like China to kind of control.
All right. We'll have to leave it there, sir. Thank you very much, Professor Sachdeva, for giving us an insight about this Vladimir Putin's latest visit to China is concerned. Of course, it's not for the first time that he's met him, but yes.
Yeah, they met 40 times like in the last 10 years.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining. Thank you. And now let's shift our focus to the French police reinforcements that began arriving in New Caledonia on Friday in a massive push to regain control of the capital. French authorities and Interior Ministry in Paris reported that 4 people were killed, hundreds arrested in violence after protests this week. Protests erupted after voting reforms pushed by French President Macron government in Pacific Island territory. A short while ago, DD India's Ross Cullen has filed this report. Take a look.
Pacific Islands Forum has called for a return to dialogue today. We are now seeing some pressure from outside the French Pacific Ocean territory to call for calm. Now, last night, calmer. That was definitely a more peaceful situation in certain parts of the island. However, the top administrative official in New Caledonia has admitted that certain areas are still outside the control of the state. That is what Paris is hoping to secure full control of the island with these additional security personnel, police forces, special police and armed forces being deployed to the island. And we know that on Friday, the army did actually come face to face with some of the rioters in and around the main international airport. Certainly areas of the capital, Nouméa, are not yet secure by the state. This has been the rioting and looting that we have seen, this civil unrest going on all week now, beginning at the start of the week before a contentious, controversial reform vote, during the vote, and then continuing Wednesday, Thursday and today after the vote as well, with shops torched and looted, cars set on fire, police stations attacked, all of it after protests against this constitutional reform.
Well, incoming Dutch government headed by Geert Wilders and his nationalist PVV party has announced plans to opt out of EU migration rules. The bold stance sets the stage for a showdown with Brussels, and it's happening even before the new government has taken office. Netherlands would join Hungary and Poland in opposing EU migration rules. After years of negotiations, the European Parliament recently approved a major reform tightening the EU's migration and asylum rules. Under the new system, migrants illegally entering the EU will undergo identity, health and security checks, including biometric readings of faces and fingerprints within 7 days. Children are to receive special treatment, with countries obliged to install independent monitoring mechanisms to ensure rights are upheld. The EU Asylum and Migration Pact has been in the works since 2015. It will come into force in 2 years' time. Well, after severe storms, heavy rains have flooded Louisiana in US on Friday. The National Weather Service has given flood warnings after Thursday night storms. The city has received about 600% of the downpours in past 2 weeks, impacting lives and routines all around. The second edition of the India-Australia-Indonesia Trilateral Maritime Security Workshop was conducted from 15th to 17th May at INS Dodacharya in Kochi. The workshop aimed to discuss the ongoing maritime security challenges and opportunities for collaboration between the 3 maritime neighbours in the region. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Coming up next. Anmol Rai becomes Miss Pink Nepal 2024 to represent Nepal in Miss International Queen contest to be held in Thailand this year. Brazil becomes first South American country selected for 2027 Women's World Cup. And Bharat Parv, the India festival, treats delegates to a dazzling showcase of Indian culture and magic of cinema at Cannes Film Festival.
The future may seem scary, but it is solutions like these that make it less bleak.
The interest in insect farming in India came only in the context of environmental management to convert these municipal and then organic waste.
There are around 10,000 crickets in this container. It contains over 60% protein.
At first, I took the initiative to stop the sewage runoff in my own home, using what I knew and on my own volition.
It's a research topic for the future, but it would be really good to be able to treat the water and be able to reuse it, and at the same time produce plants for human consumption and other uses.
Thanks for staying with us. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Sakal Bhatt. Well, today on Friday, the world celebrated World Telecommunication and Information Society Day with a captivating roundtable discussion organized by India's Telecommunication Department on sustainable digital development driven by artificial intelligence. Experts delved into the transformative potential of artificial intelligence in shaping the future of digital sustainability.
I think the topic of this day, digital innovation for sustainable development driven by AI, artificial intelligence, is really very key. We need to generate real intelligence out of artificial intelligence, and that is what it allows us to do. Because of petabytes of data being generated in all fields of life, including IoTs, including mobile phones, including your own networks, including smart cities, we just are unable to handle it in any other manner except by using the modern day technology.
And next we bring you the glitz and glamour from the 77th edition of the Cannes Film Festival from France. As the 77th edition of the Cannes Film Festival gets underway, Indian actors and celebrities made a big splash on the French Riviera. DD India's Munmin Bhattacharya brings us this report from the Cannes.
It was a gala evening for India at Cannes on Thursday. A fusion of Indian cinema, music, cultures and cuisine, and so a celebration of India's diversity. Flanked by Indian celebrities, actors, singers and filmmakers, Secretary, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in the Government of India, Sanjay Jaju, released the poster and trailer of the upcoming 55th edition of IFFI, or International Film Festival of India in Goa, to be held from 20th to 28th November this year. Save the date poster and trailer of Waves, the first World Audio-Visual and Entertainment Summit, was also released. Waves will be organized on 30th November 2024 alongside IFFI in Goa.
It's only save the date, 20th November 2024, Goa. So you have the International Film Festival of India and you have the first of its kind World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit happening in Goa. All of you esteemed guests, you are welcome to Goa and India.
Indian singers Sunanda Sharma, Shan and 3 Gen Z performers made it a musical evening to remember. The food menu at Bharat Parv was specially curated too. It gave a taste of Indian culture to every palate.
The brief that I got was to basically celebrate India and to use rare and exceptional ingredients. That is something that's the ethos of our restaurant in Bombay already. We travel around to forage and look for these ingredients, get inspired by not only mainstream India and not only the urban cities but also the smaller tribes. And so it was just about which dish to take to Cannes and how we can showcase India at its highest level.
All in all, the Bharat Parv at Cannes celebrated the diverse tapestry of Indian cinema, its myriad tunes and cuisine inspired by all the four corners of Bharat. The gala evening had all the ingredients of a mini India away from home. With cameraman YK Loknath, Munmun Bhattacharya, DD India, Cannes.
And DD India's Munmun Bhattacharya spoke to the team of Sunflowers, were the first ones to know in Cannes. Then the short film was being made by the students of the Film and Television Institute of India. It is competing in the La Cine section of the Cannes Film Festival this year. Take a listen.
The team of Sunflowers were first ones to know is with me here in Cannes. It is competing in the La Cine section of the Cannes Film Festival. They are FTII students. Chidanand Nayak is the director of the film, and we also have Suraj, the director of photography, and Abhishek, sound designer, is also with us. Such a pleasure to have all three of you here on DD India. Chidanand, tell us how the idea was conceived, what is the backstory to it, and a little about the storyline.
So we are students from the television wing of FTI. So we have to do a final project. So the Manoj and my editor Manoj and me always wanted to make a Kannada film. So that's how the idea started, to make a Kannada film. And then when we were brainstorming with the team, so I pitched this idea came up, and they were quite excited with the idea. And when we deeply asking and when we explored more, I realized they have never heard about this story, and which was such a popular story in Karnataka, nobody else knew it. So, and the story.
Tell us a little about the story.
So it's a film based on a folktale where a granny thinks because of a rooster the sun rises, and she takes the roosters and gets away. So the film is based on that story, and everyone liked the idea and everyone wanted to tell that narrative. So that's how we started making the film.
Any challenges, Suraj, you faced in videographing it?
There were a lot of challenges. The first challenge we faced was to find a location, because the film is based in unknown location and the time period is not definite. Me and Abhishek, we searched for almost 50-60 villages for the location, and the location we got was very rural. There were no network, no proper roads, so our crew couldn't get easily there. The lights I wanted to take, that was not possible. We tried to light up with the fire, and the moonlight, and how to deal with that was main challenge I faced.
And how did you create sounds in the film?
So as this story completely takes place in an unknown period of time in the past, so I had to make sure that none of the modern sounds make it to the film. And I tried to combine them in a way that sells the story as something that's happening in a magical land, in a fantasy land. So I didn't go the conventional way of doing the things as are done in usual night scenes. I even used sounds that are heard in the day in the film, just to make it as magical as possible. Since this is a folk tale, you have to sell it that way. So that's how I approached the sound of this film.
Anmol Rai becomes Miss Pink Nepal 2024 to represent Nepal in the Miss International Queen contest to be held in Thailand this year. In a gala event organized in Kathmandu, Miss Pink Nepal 2024 was selected amongst 18 trans women contestants. And before we leave you, football governing body FIFA on Friday announced Brazil as the host for the 2027 Women's World Cup at the FIFA Congress, beating the joint bid of Belgium, Netherlands and Germany to become the first South American country to hold the tournament. Now, Brazil has won with 119 votes versus 78 for the joint European entry, boosted by technical evaluation from world governing body FIFA that gave a high score for its commercial plan and stadiums purpose-built for the 2014 Men's World Cup. The vote on the Women's World Cup had been whittled down to 2 candidates after the United States and Mexico withdrew to pursue 2031 tournament instead. That's all for this edition of DD Indian News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the day, news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile application. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on your screens on the screen to download now. So we will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Sakal Bhatt from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.